Hello everybody, welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like on this video, as well as check out this, I guess these videos, but now it's audio on audio platforms. Right now, as far as I'm aware, it's only on Spotify, so that's going to be what's linked in the description. So if you have Spotify, go subscribe or follow or whichever one it is over there. The audio for this recap as well as the Heat recap is going to be coming out later today and probably within a little bit after this. So from now on, I'm just going to be slapping whatever daily videos into one audio thing, and then that's going to be uploaded. So when I mentioned like Heat versus Bucks in that video that I was going to be doing audio stuff, I'm going to be just doing one a day with whatever videos I record today smashed together. So today I am doing I don't have the basketball up. That is supposed to be with me. I'm doing coverage of the Lakers versus Suns Game 3 and Blazers versus Nuggets. Real quick, I'm going to get the Nuggets game out of the way. Even though it was the much better of the two games, I feel like everybody's going to be here for Phoenix versus LA, just because it's LA and they have LeBron and duh. So I'm going to recap that game real quick, mostly because I just finished watching it, obviously, as well as these games were on at the same time for a good chunk of time, so this game did not get as much focus until the end for me. Really, from like halfway through the third all the way through the fourth, this was the one getting the majority of the attention, but Lakers versus Suns I was more interested in for the most part, but then eventually big lead for the Lakers, which we'll talk about when we get to it, but yeah. So really, for this game, from what I got, because I wasn't looking for exact details as much as I could have been, it's really just more of the same for both teams. Mojo99, you should know him. He made a great tweet that was kind of like, I hope the Blazers lose because I want them to actually change things up. Like, the definition of insanity, even though it's like a bullshit quote that is attributed to Albert Einstein, even though he didn't say it, I believe is the truth around that. I could be wrong, I guess. But the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting it to work. Well, whoever said that, that's the case with the Blazers, because I was watching the Blazers and I kind of had an epiphany, and I was like, as many roster changes as this team has made, as different as some things are, at the end of the day, this team feels the same as what it was like 4 years ago. It's still just Dame and CJ scoring and then whatever around. Now, over the past few years, and I would definitely say with this roster, the whatever around those two has been better. Sometimes the whatever around them has been Al-Farouq Aminu missing every three he takes, and Mo Harkless missing every three he takes. But regardless, there's definitely just it's kind of the same basic structure, and while there are better pieces in that structure now than there used to be, at the end of the day, it's kind of the same. This is why Terry Stotts needs to be fired, because they need to change up their offense because it's incredibly basic. Same goes for their terrible defense. Like, they have some decent defensive personnel, but the scheme just doesn't let them really get much use out of it. Most Blazers fans already know that he needs to be fired. Almost every NBA fan knows that Terry Stotts needs to be fired. But I was just, from this game, I was just like, okay, I'm kind of tired of watching this fucking team, because I know what I'm going to get every single game. Dame is going to score a lot of points. CJ is going to score not as much, but also a good amount of points. And some role player will have a good game. Today it was both Norman Powell and Carmelo Anthony. And that's about it. And whether or not they win will depend on how good of a game Dame actually has. And it's kind of frustrating, and that's just what I got from this game. On the Nuggets side of things, no one could guard Jokic, and that's kind of been really this whole series is just both teams can't guard each other. The Nuggets have been better about stepping up on Dame, but still a little bit questionable at times. And Jokic just can't be stopped in the post. He had 5 assists today. He had, I believe, what were the other two games? I think he had 1 assist and then like 4 or something like that, or 5. I think it was 5. So he now has 11 assists over 3 games. That's pretty damn low for Jokic. The reason why that is because the Blazers have not really been doubling him very much. And as a result, Jokic just says, okay, I'm going to score in the post then. Like, he's still looking for passes. He got 5 assists. He was looking to create offense for others, but Jokic at this point is such a good post scorer, has such good touch around the basket that if you're not going to bring another help defender, he's just going to score in the post. That's why he's such a ridiculous offensive talent, because either he will score on you or you are forced to bring a double, and that double will result in an open shot that Jokic will find every single time. That's why he's just a ridiculous offensive talent. But the standout of this game, despite the fact that Jokic had 36 and 11, is Austin Rivers. 21 points, 7 for 14, 5 for 10 from 3. He hit 3 straight three-pointers at a point in this game. I was watching this game with Asher, who is a Nuggets fan, and he was flipping the fuck out. He hit another 3 later on in the fourth quarter. That was a huge one as the game was close. Austin was just fantastic for this team, and he's had to be the starter and get a lot of minutes because there's no what's his name? Jamal Murray, but then there's also no Will Barton, who is an underrated missing player for the Nuggets. But Austin Rivers has been good in the first 2 games, and he was amazing in this game. So shout out to him for that. Outside of that, another interesting thing in this series is that Paul Millsap is playing very little. He played 11 minutes. I understood when he got the Aaron Gordon addition, and obviously Michael breaking out, that there wouldn't be that many minutes for Paul, but like even JaMychal Green is taking precedent in the rotation. I just find that interesting. As the Nuggets got a decent lead, though, it seemed like it was over, and the Blazers actually made a good attempt at a comeback, but then a foul was called on CJ, and then later on, and then he hit a 3, and then Monte Morris was sent to the free throw line. He missed both free throws, but Jokic got an offensive rebound, immediately put it back up, and that was game. So that was something. So that was that game. It was the best game of the day, or at least, yeah, it was the best game of the day because Bucks Heat was obviously a blowout. But most people are here and more interested in hearing about Suns versus Lakers, so let me talk about that. First 2 quarters of this game, it was relatively close. It was pretty much neck and neck. Third quarter, though, the Lakers score 33 to the Suns, 23 points. And that was really caused? I don't know what that means. It was caused by LeBron James because he just decided to stop fucking around. And now, even though LeBron is going to get the majority of the credit for this game, really Anthony Davis had the best performance. He was getting to the free throw line constantly, as he did in game 2 as well, and just a lot better at getting actual shots in the paint rather than settling for mid-range jumpers, even though there were also a decent amount of mid-range jumpers. But LeBron in the first 2 games here was kind of messing around. Now, in game 2, he also messed around. Like, he took a bunch of difficult-ass shots kind of for no reason, but he also just made them anyways because he can just fuck around. And that's really the most fun version of LeBron. One of the reasons that one of my favorite playoff series to watch highlights from is a sweep, or it might have been a gentleman sweep. I can't remember. I believe it was a sweep, though. Raptors versus Cavs in 2018. I'm like 95% sure it was a sweep. But that series, I love it so much because LeBron was taking a million post turnarounds and just not respecting the Raptors at all. And when LeBron gets disrespectful, that's when he's most fun. There was a play where LeBron had Jay Crowder in the post. And it was even greater about this. Well, first of all, I should say, he had Jay in the post. He felt Jay's pressure on him, and he fucking smiled like a psychopath. Like, it was funny, but it was also like, Jesus Christ, this guy is so good, and he knows it. But then also, the bench on the Lakers just got into it. And LeBron was like leaning back, doing the Kobe thing where you feel him out with your shoulders. I know it's not Kobe alone who does it, but that's who comes to mind. And Andre Drummond was on the sideline right next to where LeBron was posting up. And he was doing the like feeling him out with the shoulders thing while the other players on the Lakers bench were like jumping, like cheering him on. And then LeBron spins baseline, does a crazy reverse layup. I think it might have been an and one. I can't remember. But that play was awesome. And it's just like, this guy's a fucking psycho. He knows he's so good, and he's just disrespectfully messing around with this team. So really, this game came down to LeBron was better, and really, like, points wise, pretty much the same. But he particularly was more aggressive driving the ball. Of course, I mentioned the post-up thing, but really it was mostly the driving that really sparked that run in the third quarter, early third quarter, to get them that lead. AD was great. Dennis was great. Outside of that, the Lakers players were not all that great contributing-wise. Now, Kuzma, he went 2 for 12. I will say he did some little things relatively well. He grabbed 10 rebounds in 23 minutes, which is nice. Had a couple of nice assists. But, 2 for 12 is bad. But other than that, Wesley Matthews. I have to mention Wesley Matthews. I'm glad I have the box score filled up. Right as this game was like, the bleeding was really getting pushed, and it seemed like the Suns might fight back. Wesley Matthews hit back-to-back threes, and one of them was off of a LeBron free throw that he missed and then rebounded himself. And that was really like when I was like, okay, this game is over. Now, credit to the Suns. Despite this third quarter, they came back swinging in the fourth. And they actually made a good run to get it to single digits with like a minute left in the game. But at that point, it was a little too late. So that was that. On the Suns side of things, why they played poorly. Once again, DeAndre Ayton had a hell of a game. Now, he missed 4 shots in this game, which seems like a lot in comparison to his first 2 games, but he still shot 73%, which is his lowest field goal percentage of these 3 games, which is wild. But I mentioned in my game 1 analysis on my main channel where I said the Suns can win, that Jay Crowder and Mikal Bridges would start hitting threes, and that would make a big difference. Apparently fucking not. Jay is like 2 for 21 from 3 in this series at this point. That's just terrible. Like, this, genuinely, he's 1 for 7 today. He was like a 1 for 8 the other day. I don't know what he was in game 1. Mikal Bridges, credit to him, did go 2 for 4, but he also only shot 4 fucking threes. He only shot the ball 5 times in total. I know Mikal is not like a go-to scorer, but it's nice for him to get clean looks and take them and hit them, and that wasn't really happening. Also, of course, we have to talk about Christopher Paul. Injury. I will say, he looked more comfortable with his pull-up jumper in particular, but there was also there was one possession in particular that stood out to me where he was doing a dribble move and then his arm just kind of gave out, and then luckily Devin Booker got the ball, but it looked like he literally his arm just said, no, we're not dribbling anymore. So he's clearly still off. I'd say he's more like 75%. When in game 2 he was probably like 40, so that's an improvement. But he also still ended up playing only 27 minutes as a result of this. 7, 5, and 6, which is a fine stat line. Like I said, the mid-range pull-up seemed more comfortable. He did get a crossover that I believe it was Wesley Matthews who touched the ground, so that was nice. Cameron Payne was good off the bench again. So I don't know what's up with Cameron Payne, but he does not like this Lakers team. He also had 4 steals. I didn't even realize that. But for the most part, it was mostly like the Lakers just had this one after the third quarter. I will also mention, I just put in my notes, Jay Crowder sucks. Devin Booker. That's an important note. Devin Booker couldn't really get that many clean looks. And I said this before, when Chris Paul is not playing and he's not himself and the Lakers don't really have to respect him like that, Devin Booker is kind of fucked because it's easy to bring a double on him when he's the only guy who can really initiate a play, or the other guy is Cameron Payne, which, hey, Cameron Payne is outperforming what I thought Cameron Payne could do, but Cameron Payne is not Chris Paul. Cameron Payne is not Devin Booker. So at the end of the day, if I'm the Lakers, I'd rather Cameron Payne create offense. Even if it's cool that he's doing it better than I would think, still Cameron Payne. So Devin Booker is getting double teams constantly, and then also I also have to give credit to Andre Drummond, and I don't know why I'm so happy to say this, but I was so hard on Andre Drummond, and I think completely rightfully so after game one. People might disagree, but I think rightfully so. But in this game, really fucking good performance. He started off the game immediately with a block, then a post spin off of, I think it was Ayton that he got a dunk off of. 11 rebounds in 20 minutes. Of course, you know the rebounding thing. He had 2 blocks. He just played significantly better defensively. He showed signs of this in game 2 where he was stepping up a little bit more in the pick and roll on Devin Booker, and that kind of interrupted Booker's rhythm. So I think part of the reason why Devin struggled was fucking Andre Drummond's defense. Didn't think I'd be saying that. Also, a good amount of AD at center, and he helped in that regard as well. So just in general, the Lakers get an A+ from me. A lot of the problems that I had with them in game 1 started to mitigate themselves in game 2, and in game 3, it seems like they're kind of just gone. Now, what does that actually mean for the Suns for the rest of the series? I don't think they're completely out of it, but maybe if Chris Paul was healthy throughout this entire series, I could see a world where they win this one with the Lakers getting in their stride by game 4. But without it, and the fact that you're down 2-1 now on the Lakers' home floor, it doesn't look good. And I'm sad because I'm rooting for the Suns simply because I'm always going to root for the underdog, and I'm rooting for Chris Paul because I just really like Chris Paul. Although I would also just like the Lakers because I think they'd be the best finals matchup for the Nets, and that'd be the better final. So I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted in that regard. For the most part, though, I like the underdog. I understand the Suns are the 2 seed and the Lakers are the 7 seed, but the Suns are the underdog. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but at this point, the Lakers are probably gonna win. This is 17 minutes. Holy shit! I didn't mean for it to be that long. But yeah. Again, go check out this on Spotify when it goes up relatively soon. And then just hopefully, for those of you who would just prefer to listen to this on audio, just go check it out over there and just wait a little bit longer, and then it'll be out every day. But yeah, that is the end of this video, and goodbye.